Okay, today I'm going to do a video on some gear and equipment that you will be needing to take with you while you go bow hunting. Over the years of bow hunting, I've come to experience some difficulties with certain types of equipment while I've been out in the field. And today I want to explain the reasons why I use certain types of equipment and, some of the theories and sciences behind it. So first thing I'm going to do is start off with hunting knives. Now, when I used to go bow hunting, and in the earlier days, I would quite often take a sheath knife with me because I love big hunting knives. And I'd be sitting in my deer stand, and a lot of times when I would be trying to stand up to shoot, a lot of times on my sheath knife would actually kind of catch on my stand. And that happened several times, and it got to be kind of a deal where I didn't like that at all. And a lot of times if I was sitting down, it just felt uncomfortable being on my belt because they'd always kind of be bent a little bit. And I never did feel really comfortable. I was always monkeying with it. So anymore, for probably the last 5 or 6 years now, I have been using these big folding hunting knives, and they've been working out real good for me. I've got probably at least a half a dozen big folding hunters, and I really like them because in size they're just about as big as any of the sheath knives that you'd be taking anyway, but you have the ability to fold it and put it in your pocket. That eliminates any of this uncomfortable that you experience from the sheath, and you don't have to worry about it hooking on your deer stand or anything while you're standing up. And so the folding hunting knife has really been a good deal for me, and I recommend folding hunters if you're going to be in a deer stand. Okay. Another thing that you got to always remember is that you're going to have a light. So I basically think of having 3 different types of lights. I have a small light, and this goes on my hat, and it works really good. And you need an additional light, bigger, in case, when you shoot a deer, a lot of times you shoot them in the evening and they take off running, and it gets dark on you, and a little light is just not often enough light to get the job done in finding it. So I take a bigger flashlight that I carry in my pocket. And another reason why I carry another light is in case something happens to my primary light, then I always have a light to fall back on, because being out in the woods in the dark, if your flashlight, if you fail, you don't have light, you got problems, because there's nothing any worse than being out in the dark in the woods with no light. And then take a big light and keep that back up to your truck, because sometimes you'll make a difficult shot on an animal, and sometimes finding a deer can be somewhat difficult to do in the dark, even with 2 lights. So I like these big ones because these things here, they throw a big beam, and it really can help. But generally speaking, if you make a good hit on your animal, you're going to be able to find it with just 1 or 2 of these lights. But I always like to have a big one just in case. So when you go, you want to make sure you have at least 1 small one and a bigger one, because if one plays out on you in the dark, you always got something to fall back on. Okay. When I go hunting, I always take a pair of binoculars with me. There's been times that I have been so thankful that I had a pair of binoculars that it's just, I never leave the house without them anymore. So, kind of like the flashlights, I have two different types that I take. I have a small set, which I really like small binoculars because you don't have the weight, or it's not as cumbersome, you know, to hauling around the big ones. But I do use two different kinds, and I'm going to tell you why. The lens on a small set like this, you can see how small they are. And then my big set, you can see how big the lens is on them. If I'm going out in the morning to hunt and I know that the sun is going to increase, I generally will take my small ones. Not always, but quite often I will take the small ones if I know it's going to be pretty sunny. If I'm going to be hunting in the evening, I always take the pair with the bigger lens on them. And the reason why I do that is because the bigger lens allows more light to enter into the magnification chamber, and you can see better. When it starts getting dark in the evening, if I take these small ones, I can't see very good. But if you have a big set, you will notice the difference between day and night, literally being able to see through a big set. When I go scouting, before season comes in and I'm locating the bucks that I'm going to be hunting, I'll take this out to the bean field and by the cornfield, because I'm going to be out there when it's getting dark, and this bigger lens allows me to get a longer time period of viewing as it gets dark. So you always want to remember that. If I have to choose one set of binoculars, only one, I'll always take the big lens because it allows me to see better under low light conditions. Okay, always want to have a water bottle with you. I take a water bottle. I've got generally two kinds. I've got this smaller one, and then I have one that's a little bigger. You know, if it's cool and more in the fall, I can get by pretty easy with a small one. But sometimes when season first starts, it can still be pretty hot out there, and I get thirsty, and I like to drink, you know, water. I don't like having to be thirsty while I'm out in my deer stand, so I make sure that I always have ample water with me because it's just a good thing to have. And then when you field dress your deer, you know, a lot of times I don't use gloves, but, you know, sometimes I do. But if you got some water, you know, you can get your hands rinsed off, and you want to make sure that you have plenty of water. So, like the flashlight, I generally have a small bottle and a large bottle to take. Okay, now when you're out there drinking, you're intaking fluids, so you know that you're going to be having to get rid of some fluids. So you're going to have the pee bottle with you. With my bottles, I always wrap them with a camouflage material, and then I tape them. And I keep a piece of cord that I wrap around the neck of it, and I put a clippy on it, and then I've got another loop here, and then when I want to go to my stand, I just clip it on, and then I can walk, and I got my stuff, and then when I get to my stand and get up in my stand, I can take it off and clip it on, and I can hang it there at my stand, and that works out really good for me. Now, I'll tell you something else too. When you get back to the house and you're done hunting and you pour out, you know, your pee and you wash it out, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll take some scentless spray and I'll spray inside it, and put some water in there, and that really helps cut down on the odor that remains in the bottle. And taking a pee bottle is extremely important. It's as important as the trigger to your bow, because if you don't have your pee bottle with you and you start peeing out on the ground by your stand, all you're doing is eliminating any chance of deer coming by for you to shoot, because they're going to smell it. I mean, it's just common logic that you're going to have a pee bottle. And in fact, on my deer stands, my ladder stands, all of my stands right now have a couple of bottles hanging on them right now. I make sure that I have bottles there always. That way, if I would forget it, I don't have to worry about it. I keep them on my stand. Okay, now when I go to my stand, and I always take a lot of little things. I take my scent, I take my wind indicator powder, a little sprayer that I take, and you know, I take a host of little things, you know, that they're kind of important, you know. So instead of taking a fanny pack, what I do is on these smaller things, and I put this stuff in the clothing that I'm going to wear when I go hunting. If I do that, the only way that I'm going to forget my little whatnots that I take is not to dress. So therefore, you know, it's just a smart way to do things. A lot of guys have little bitty bags and packs and stuff that they put their stuff in, and that's okay as long as you don't forget it. But you know, I've been guilty of having stuff in a bag, and you know, I get out to where I'm on a hunt, and I'm in such a hurry to get to my stand that I left my little bag back at the car. And you know, that's not happened many times, but I have had it happen a couple of times, and it doesn't work out too good. So over the years, I have learned the best way to not forget something is to make sure that you put it in your clothing. That way, the only way you're going to forget it is if you don't dress. And you're going to be dressing before you go hunting, because it's going to be cold. So anyway, just wanted to go over a few little things as far as some equipment, you know, the reasons why I take what I take, and the reasons why I take the types of things that I take. It does make a difference when you go hunting. So anyway, I'm going to close down this video here, and you know, I'm going to have some more videos coming up to help you guys with your bow hunting in the upcoming season. And you know, I hope that the information that I share with you is of benefit to you guys. And you know, hunting is a difficult sport with a bow and arrow, and any type of additional information that we can get and share is always important. So until my next video, I will see you on the next one.